Hey, good morning, everybody. We are here for Saturday, March 16th voting session. We're going to try to move through this quickly because we got the Republican caucus chair sitting here and he called a meeting for 9:15 a.m. So here we go. All right now. HB 468 is the Commission to Advance Lithium-Ion Battery Safety in Maryland. We are secondary with ECM, came over with amendments which add 3 new members to the commission related to first responders, the power plant research program, and the Public Service Commission. It adds standards and decommissioning to the commission's charge and requires an interim as well as a final report. This legislation overall is to address some of the safety concerns with the proliferation of lithium-ion batteries, which have a lot of important uses, but can also have some negative effects like basically everything else on Earth. Move the amendments. Any discussion of the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed to the amendments? Move the bill as amended. Any discussion on the bill? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of House Bill 468 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 972, Chair Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, colleagues. HB 972 came out of subcommittee favorable with amendments. The amendments strike the authority of local jurisdictions to regulate the operation of off-highway recreational vehicles on highways within its jurisdiction, alter the standards for the impoundment of off-highway recreational vehicles, and establish procedures for the reclamation and forfeiture of impounded off-highway recreational vehicles. Move the amendments.
Second. Amendments have been moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. Delegate Davis.
First Amendment?
So it strikes the authority of, yeah, I was wondering as I read that.
Yes.
They can. Patrick, could you explain that, please?
That was the one where they thought that the language would allow them on the highway.
Right. Right.
Got it. Thank
Yes, they can still implement regulations on them, but they can't drive them on the highways. I think I'll clarify that for the floor. Thank you very much.
Delegate Silberti.
Thank you. It's a very good bill. Sponsor problem. I'm sorry.
All right. I don't know if anyone's been counting how many voice bills have been on the board lately, but we're well past the quota here. House Bill 972 has amendments. All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to the amendments? Amendments pass.
Move the bill, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the bill. And all in favor of House Bill 972, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, bill passes. Just for time's sake, we're just going to roll through these without the pile-ons. HB 364, Prince George's County delegation. I'll just briefly explain procedurally. We are making changes to the amendments that were sent over from the delegation. We're going to move it this morning, subject to the review of the Prince George's County delegation. If they're concerned about the amendments, then I will special order the bill till April 9th when it comes up on the floor. Patrick, do you want to explain the amendments? Oh, sorry, Delegate Love.
I am happy to explain the amendments. Right now, what the not right now, but the amendments authorize on a trial basis the use of 10 stop sign monitoring systems by Prince George's County to enforce violations for failure to come to a stop at intersections governed by stop signs in the county. The systems may only be used at locations approved by Prince George's County Council. The county must prioritize placement at locations in municipalities that have a high rate of violations. And the trial basis is set to last 2 years, after which the county DOT must report to the governor and the General Assembly. Those are the amendments. Move the amendments.
All in favor of the, any discussion on the amendments? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please have it. Of course, Delegate Taylor.
Briefly, because I want to thank the committee staff and the committee leadership for taking this very seriously and helping us to get something through. When I put it in, I truly believed that the attitude toward electronic monitoring had matured in the state and it wouldn't be such a big deal. I was mistaken in that. And I appreciate all the work that's been done, especially by Patrick and the committee leadership. And I will advocate for this with the delegation so that we can get it done today. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Haley. Further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed to the amendments, amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Bill's moved and second. Discussion on the bill. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Does anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Siliberte, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Baker. All in opposition to this local bill. Bill passes. House Bill 424, Delegate Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a Montgomery County bill, and the bill repeals the requirement of Housing Opportunities Commission in Montgomery County to hold a public hearing on any assisted family housing it proposes. Report in writing the findings of the conclusion from the hearing, give notice of the hearing 15 days prior to the hearing by displayed advertisement in 2 newspapers and general circulation. Amendment number, and there are no amendments, Mr. Chair. Move the bill.
Second.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 424, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 687, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 687 is a bill that we've heard previously. This one is specifically and only for Charles County with a belt and suspenders approach, just in case the statewide doesn't pass. Charles County wants to have theirs. This is a board member training bill. There are no amendments. Move the bill, Mr. Chair.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on this local bill? All in favor of House Bill 687, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, bill passes. I am going to hold House Bill 964. So we move on to House Bill 970, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 970, as amended, the bill establishes that if a landlord violates existing rent increase notification requirement, the landlord is prohibited from increasing the tenant's rent for the lease term only, for the lease term. Taking any retaliation against a tenant, including refusing to renew the lease because of prohibition on an increase in the rent. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 clarifies that a landlord may not increase the tenant's rent for the lease term if the landlord violates the rent increase during the under existing law. Move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Amendments have moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed to the amendments. Okay, amendments pass.
Bill's
The bill is
amended.
amended. I second. Okay. All in favor of the bill is amended. Any discussion on the bill?
Yeah.
All right. All in favor of House Bill 970 as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Siliberte, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. House Bill 1408, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1408 is relevant to persons selling paper in real estate. And basically, in a contract of sale of owner-occupied residential property, this bill requires a wholesale buyer, that's what they call someone who's selling paper, a wholesale buyer to disclose to the owner that the property that the wholesale buyer may assign the contract of sale for another person, and requires a wholesale seller to disclose in writing to a prospective buyer that the wholesale seller may not be able to convey title. There are amendments. I just read the amendments. Move the amendments, Madam Chair.
Mr. Chair, amendments have been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed to the amendments?
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the bill? All right, all in favor of House Bill 1408 as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, bill passes. As we turn to the next bill, let me just say, I know a lot of work went into HB 1165. I listened to many very detailed subcommittee meetings, and I know that there was a lot of compromise and back and forth. So just really appreciate everyone's kind of very detailed work on this. As I texted the Speaker Pro Tem last night, it's just sort of the best of committee work in the legislature. So just want to thank you all. And with that, I will turn to Chair Stein.
Mr. Chairman, and I wholeheartedly agree with your comments. Recommendation is favorable with amendments. As amended, this bill establishes the whole watershed restoration partnership to accelerate the restoration of the Chesapeake and Atlantic coastal bays and their watersheds. The partnership provides grants and technical assistance to eligible projects over a period of 5 years. The whole watershed fund is established in DNR to provide funding for approved projects and is generally authorized to receive funding for specified state agriculture and environmental special funds. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 strikes provisions that would have established the Stream Restoration Contractors Licensing Board and related requirements, clarifies that certain funding made available to the whole watershed fund be made in a manner that is consistent with existing requirements and purposes, clarifies language regarding community engagement, and authorize certain financing for water quality monitoring. Move the amendments.
Amendments have moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye. And opposed to the amendments, amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended.
HB 1165 has been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Delegate Tarasa.
Yeah, I just want to say, I wanted to thank the sponsor for working with me on this. I think it's a good bill. I look forward to coming back either later in the session or next year and really looking at what guardrails we need on stream restoration.
Any further discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 1165 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Anyone needs to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Silaberte, Delegate Naraki, and Delegate Baker. Got it. Okay, House Bill 1101, Chair Stein.
Mr. Chairman, recommendation is favorable with amendments. As amended, the bill makes changes to state law to provide standing and certain remedies to a person with respect to civil claims arising under standards issued by the Secretary of the Environment in accordance with Title V, Subtitle 9 of the Environment Article, if the standard is related to non-tidal wetlands that do not have a continuous surface connection to surface water, or Title 9, Subtitle 3 of the Environment Article, if the standard is hydrologically connected to an ephemeral stream or an intermittent stream. Amendment number 1 is technical. Number 2 narrows the application of the bill to allow citizens to file civil enforcement actions in state court the same way that they were previously able to do in federal court under the Clean Water Act. Move the amendments.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed to the amendments? Amendments pass. Move the bill
as amended.
Second. Okay, bill's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the bill. Delegate Davis.
It expands standing. And what else? To whom?
Delegate, it expands standing so that the restrictions on, there was a Supreme Court decision called Sackett last year, and it narrowed the application of the Clean Water Act. It took certain bodies of water out from under the jurisdiction of the Clean Water Act. And so what this bill does, tries to correct that by saying that anyone who has standing under federal law can bring actions with respect to those types of waterways now.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Under state law, that's right.
Delegate Naraki.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Delegate, so does this, when you mentioned Sackett, I just want to understand here, does it expand it beyond pre-Sackett, the standing there?
No, it does not.
Okay, and what impact does it have on the definition of injury in fact? How does it affect that, change it? What does it do to that?
It doesn't change the definition. It uses the same definition of standing under federal law for purposes of standing under the bill.
Okay, thank you, Delegate.
Further discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 1101 as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wish to record in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Silaberte, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. Okay, House bill passes. House Bill 836. We are secondary on this bill to appropriations. They've done a lot of work on it. As amended, this bill applies to $50 million or more highway projects or a series of highway projects and requires such projects to undergo an impact study for greenhouse gas emissions and increases in vehicle miles traveled. As amended, the bill no longer requires any mitigation based on those assessments, but does set up a work group that will work to figure out if mitigation should be done in the future and how that would work. This is what appropriations wanted to do with it, so they went and got approval for a work group. That's not our ask. The Maryland Department of Transportation is on board, but I'm confident that even with these amendments, there are many advocates who will not be happy with the bill. So just want to share that in full disclosure. And of course, many advocates who will be happy with the bill, but this is not a 100% kumbaya supported piece of legislation. Can I move the amendments? Any discussion on the amendments? Delegate Foley on the amendments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. Is the sponsor okay with the amendment?
Yes, the
Okay.
sponsor worked out the
Okay,
amendments.
thank you.
On the amendments, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. And opposed to the amendments? Okay, move the bill as amended. Discussion on the bill. Okay, all in favor of House Bill 836 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Silaberte, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. Okay, I know, thank you, the bill passes. I know that's the end of your voting list. We have a few additions. HB 196 is a bill we held, I guess it was yesterday. It feels like it was 3 years ago, related to school buses and seatbelts. Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 196 came out of subcommittee about 10 years ago, favorable with amendments. As amended, HB 196 requires every school bus purchased on or after July 1, 2027 and registered in the state to be equipped with seat belts that are accessible to passengers for every seat on the school bus. The subcommittee amendments strike the requirement that a driver not allow a student to stand and not drive while any students are unbelted. So basically removes any liability for the school bus driver. It also strikes the retroactive effect, so it's only proactive, and it delays the requirement until July 1, 2027. Move the amendments.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. Delegate Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For Chair Love.
Yes.
When you say it's prospective and not retroactive, does that mean only new school buses will have the seatbelts?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I offer one more amendment that we didn't get in? Thank you. The amendment makes the seatbelts the 3-point harness seatbelts. Move the amendment.
Okay, further discussion on the amendments. Delegate Morgan.
Bring up, please. I talked to Delegate Edelson yesterday, and in the BRFA, they realized that they're not going to be able to meet this requirement. The manufacturers aren't going to be able to make the buses in time. So the BRFA comment is going to be that this will not go into effect until the manufacturer is actually able to make electric buses.
So Delegate Morgan, I believe you're referring to the transition of the Maryland Transit Administration buses.
I got the wrong bill.
This is related to school buses.
My error.
Yep, no problem. Further discussion. Delegate Silaberte.
In the back of the bus, if one of these little darlings unbuckles their seatbelt, how's the driver going to know that?
The driver isn't going to know that, and that is why the amendment struck any driver liability and says that the driver is not responsible to there was a requirement that driver not allow a student to stand and not drive while any students are unbelted. That was stricken. And it was also added that the bus driver is shielded from liability.
Home run.
Further discussion on the bill? Okay, I think we still have to adopt the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to the amendments? Okay, move the bill as amended.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on this bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 196, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Silaberte opposing the home run, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. Okay, bill passes. We have one more. This is a local bill for Dorchester County, HB 1161. Chair Stein.
Recommendations favorable with amendments. This bill authorizes the Dorchester County Council to enact a local law to abolish the Dorchester County Sanitary Commission and establish a Department of Public Facilities and Services. The bill transfers various powers from the Sanitary Commission to the County Council and makes conforming changes. The amendments clarify that the employees may only continue participation in the employee's pension system if employed by a participating employer of the system, and changes the effective date. Move the amendments.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments, Delegate Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Was there any labor participation added to the work group?
No, I think Delegate, this is a different
Oh,
bill.
sorry, I'm confused.
This is Dorchester County.
That's okay.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. And opposed to the amendments? Amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended.
Bills moved and seconded for discussion on the bill. Is there a question? I'm sorry. We good? Okay. All in favor of 1161 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, bill passes. Just thank you all briefly on the schedule. I do not expect we will be meeting again as a committee before crossover. That said, crazy things happen, so just keep an ear out for any potential meetings. Next week on Tuesday, we're hoping to tee up the remaining House bills that haven't had hearings yet because they were late coming out of rules, things like that. Or we just got delegation letters, anything like that. That's ready to go. And then we'll start having our stream of senators and senator staffers coming in here to talk about how they messed up the cross files. And so we'll hear from them. So just assume, we will have committee work next week, but, probably at a lighter pace than what we had the previous few weeks. So